is your definition of avant writing?
Well, if I defined it, it wouldn't be that anymore, would
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's an ongoing, developing thing in process. Um, that means it'll be difficult for anybody who takes up the collection after me and continues to curate it. But I hope it's somebody who kind of has the same attitude that it can't be the same thing all the time, and it's going to have to change. And what people do is going to change and evolve and become something else. And that's the point, to have this kind of writing that's outside what's acceptable. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing or other people are doing today will be taken up by the Academy in the future, but it will be considerably diluted and made more accessible, as they say. That's what happens. That's how it works.
So will you personally choose the next curator?
If I'm around, I'll probably have some say in it. Hope to be consulted.
So, but you said you will retire soon or next year?
Well, probably next fall or winter.
After the
Big event in August.
Oh. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, because I have a lot of projects that of my earlier work that I want to get in print or organized and edited in some way, and I just don't have time to do it. And it would also give me more time to pursue newer things as well, although I guess I've done pretty well so far. But the older you get, the slower you get, and so it's harder for me to function with 2 full-time jobs the older I get, which is what I have, basically.
So, 2 full-time jobs, Burroughs and the...
No, the library and my own work.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. So who are some other well-known writers other than Burroughs that are in the collection, or the Avant Writing collection?
The Avant Writing collection? Scott Helms is in there, Kathy Ernst, or K.S. Ernst. We had talked to Jesse. I think he made another arrangement. We have some of his stuff. There's F.A. Nettlebeck. You might have heard of him. We have all his manuscripts and everything. He kept them very well organized, too. Who else have we got? Ficus strangulensis, or Forrest Ritchie. We have all his material. John Cohn, Alan Bramhall, Alan Sondheim. We're collecting a lot of his material. And he's an interesting guy. I don't understand what he's doing, a lot of what he's doing, but it's quite intense and involves an approach to literature and aesthetics that's really unique. And so I think he's probably a pretty important guy for what he's doing. It falls in between every crack you can imagine.
Wow.
So that's why it's important to collect someone like him, like his work.
So what aspect of it, you said you don't understand? What aspect of his work?
Well, probably the biggest thing is he's involved a lot with a computer code and stuff, and that's I don't understand that in general. So when he uses that as an aesthetic medium, I'm sort of lost there. But other people do get it, so it's important to keep and preserve that as much as possible. The problem with electronic art or literature in general is one of archiving it. because whatever medium you store it on, disks or servers or whatever, has to be changed, every few years because the media change. I mean, we've got stuff from Burroughs. Back in the 70s, Grauerholz was putting a lot of his manuscripts on the early word processors, which have these big, flat, floppy disks. They're literally floppy. And no one has machines to read those things, let alone programs to read them. So that stuff is almost inaccessible. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of this material. Material on tape, tapes decay. Flash drives decay. They're telling us that 25 years is the maximum we can hope for anything lasting on a disk. My approach is to print out as much as possible on acid-free paper, but some of this electronic stuff can't be printed. It's gone. It doesn't print. It's electronic art. But getting back to people, Sheila Murphy, we have her complete publications and a lot of other material from her.
It's mostly American writing, or does it have to be?
Mostly North American. We do have a lot of material from French and Hispanic and Brazilian people, and working on getting more.
But that's not in English, or?
Correct, it's not in English.
Oh.
The reason for that is that, in general, avant-garde arts tend to be international in nature. All my life I've been in communication with people from other countries, and that's true with all of us in that field. And it's always been that way. The avant-garde movements are international. People know each other from other countries. They work across languages and so on. It's in the more established arts that you get the nationalism, where you have American poetry, English poetry. It's something cut off to a large extent from the rest of the world. They're not interacting with artists or writers from other cultures and being influenced by, you could say, or collaborating with them. It doesn't happen as much.
Just out of curiosity, do you have any Japanese writers in your collection?
Yes. I'm trying to think of some names. There's a few. There's a visual poet. Last name starts with a T. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
We have some of his material. And Keiichi Nakamura has done some visual poetry and stuff. We have his material, quite a bit of it. And there's quite a few others. Gianni Simone, he's Italian, I think, but judging by the name, but he lives in Japan and publishes Japanese material in his magazines, and we have quite a bit of that. There's another magazine from Japan. The title is just an O.
The letter O.
Well, O with a tail on the top of it.
Okay.
I think it's some kind of script character. And that's full of, I don't read Japanese, so I can't tell what the text is exactly, but the visual material in it is definitely experimental.
Oh. So when you say visual poetry, what do you mean exactly? Or what are some? Because I think that term confuses a lot of people, right?
Yes. Visual poetry, I always like to say all poetry is visual. at least in the extent that poetry and